And can we finally talk about Tesla?
Yeah.
Chris, how you feeling about Tesla? You think it's undervalued now? Are you buying? What's your strategy with Tesla?
I think Tesla's fairly valued right now. It's just
Are you buying?
everyone
Are you buying?
at this 100% stage. I'm not 100% buying yet. I'm gonna wait for Q1 numbers. I'm more numbers driven than anything else. Like I see a lot of the stuff happening in the headlines coming up, like with margins probably being compressed. So an example is China. These guys are, asking for some of their money back. They're having to lower prices. So all I'm saying is I want to see what the numbers look like. If there's any justification for the rapid drop in Tesla prices, right? In there and see what kind of margin compressions are coming. If those margin compressions don't come as bad as a lot of people are expecting, then I'm definitely a buyer of Tesla. Guaranteed I'll buy it because $100 to 105, even 120 is pretty fair value for this company that's still growing 50% year over year. The question is that growth going to, number one, keep up? And number two, will trying to keep up with that growth rate mean that they have to sell the cars at a less price? And if they do have to sell at a lesser price, those margins will be compressed, right? Which means that they'll earn less on it. Over the next 10 years, I think Tesla will definitely have an opportunity to 5x based on everything that I'm seeing. But at the same time, you have to take things into perspective. And also the way that I would buy into Tesla is by DCAing into it, or and here's the other thing, is something that I do is that I end up doing a poor man's poor man's call on it, right? Where I would sell the 150, I would sell the $200 strike Tesla call, and I would buy the Tesla $200 call. So, I mean, no, not 200, 150 call, and basically make money on that spread. So that's a credit spread. So if Tesla does go shooting up to above 200 in the next 2 years, I'd end up making money. Like, so that's what I did with Meta, right? Meta, I was telling you guys when Meta had dropped to like the 70s and 80s and even 90s, I was like, look, this is a great time to buy some Meta because it's down 70%. Their cash flows are still relatively healthy. I think the market is overcorrected. So this is where it was like, okay, let's buy it. And how did you do, Vitaly, on those positions? Those are like great positions to buy. So there are definitely times where when things are undervalued that you shouldn't be afraid to take risks, but also be aware that there are times where you should also hedge a little bit, right? So right now, for me, I'm information driven. I want to see what Tesla's Q4 numbers look like. After that, I'm definitely going to be a buyer of whether that be the options route, especially if the numbers don't nearly look as bad. And on top of it, if they do look like medium, like okay, they're not that bad, then I'll end up buying the stock and DCAing into it long term. And if they
Okay,
look really
Carlos.
bad, I'll wait until a correction to buy after that. So if I can get Tesla at 70 or $80, guaranteed I'll probably buy it. But like I said, I'm a numbers driven guy. I'll wait until the numbers come out before I buy.
Carlos, do you think it gets to 70 or 80?
It's possible. It's possible it might happen right after earnings if their margins are even at all compressed. But I think anyone that's
can we speak a little bit? Can you speak a little bit as you're talking about this margin thing? They talked about slashing prices in China. Can you give some context about that if you heard about that?
In order to boost deliveries, they had to lower the prices on some of the cars, which compresses their margin. So I think they were making 17% of the cars. There was actually a really good video. I don't know if we saw it on the Discord that talks about how every $1,000 that they lower it, what it does to the margin. So they might be in low double digit margins from this point, but they're still well beyond what other legacy automakers are making. But the car business is not the complete story of Tesla. And I think anyone that doesn't have a position, I think this is a good time to start a position, because I think after that investor day that they're going to do March, we're going to hear about the $25,000 or $30,000 vehicle. This is also the year of the Cybertruck. I just feel like there's limited runway here to fuck around with Tesla. And so if you plan on participating in Tesla's explosive growth over the next 5 to 10 years, I don't know that we're going to see prices this low for a long time. Or if ever. So me personally, I am looking for an opportunity to snipe me some good shares. I mean, I'm DCAing, but I'm probably going to do bigger purchases this time around and just fully flesh out that position. I just think in 2 years from now, people are going to look at these prices and what the conversation was right now, and it's going to seem ridiculous that this was ever even a debate.
Okay, V, we kind of know where you stand, but I mean, you don't think, before I asked you, I was
Vitaly's shorting Tesla to zero.
Vitaly shorting zero. I was having a conversation with one of my friends who made a lot of money. I mean, he's generally pretty smart. He's a software engineer. We were talking about Elon last night in our group chat. I posted a picture on Twitter, and he thinks Tesla is so unbelievably overvalued. He thinks EVs are not really the future. He thinks the way we're getting our EVs are from like gas and like he thinks the whole story of it is bullshit. He thinks the multiples on Tesla are insane. He made a lot of money off Tesla in 2020, but
it's so funny. After they make the money, now he's coming back and saying,
well, yeah, and I really he's not a bullshit. Like he's a very smart. He makes a lot of money in software engineering. Like he's a smart guy. But when it comes to the Tesla story, he is and he's had a Tesla for 5 years, by the way. His Model 3 actually cost $100,000 back in 2015. Him and his dad bought one, so he's been using it for a while. He thinks the experience of driving it also sucks because you can barely get mileage. Like he just had such a bearish perspective on it. So it's interesting to hear his perspective that he thinks like it has another $100 billion to fall because the multiple on it is insane compared to Ford and Toyota. So he doesn't think of it as a tech company. Right. And so I think that's the debate right now.
Gene Munster said that, didn't it? Wasn't it Gene Munster that said that like recently? He's like, if you believe this is a tech company, you'll never see an opportunity like this again. Buy it. If you think it's just a car company, sell everything and go buy GM.
I agree with that sentiment 100%.
Look, in the next few years, you got to understand Tesla. What happens to Tesla stock once the legacy automakers, once the problems that they have trying to transition to EVs become really apparent? What happens when they start to go bankrupt and Tesla becomes increasingly the only game in town? Doesn't it just funnel up all of that money? I mean, what do you think is going to happen? This is why I'm saying people are fucking around and sleeping on this stock and saying it's just a car company or it still has to prove its tech out. Like Chris was saying, this is going to happen so damn fast. And that's why I think a lot of what we're talking about now is going to seem ridiculous in a few years. And then all those people, what was that one Vitaly, that guy that posted, oh no, don't worry about Tesla. You'll have plenty of opportunities to buy when it's at 300, something like that.
Yeah,
meme, it was like a meme. That's what's gonna happen. Everyone that's
now
about the price and the multiples, they're all gonna FOMO in when it's back to 300 a share.
Yeah, that was a funny comment because he said, it was a YouTuber too. He said, don't worry, don't buy it at $100 because you're gonna FOMO in back at 300.
Yeah, there's plenty of opportunity to buy it when it's back at 300.
And me and Carlos have an episode coming out hopefully soon about like a then and now series where we talk about 2001 crash, 2008 crash. Carlos, I think I hear myself in your speakers. But 2001 crash, 2008 crash, and we read it like it's from that moment. We actually go through articles about the Amazon crash, the Amazon bubble that burst, and all of the negativity surrounding when that happened, that Amazon was dead, it's never coming back, that kind of thing. All the .coms were gone.
It actually, it's a really good look. It's a really good look back, as both Vitaly and I were investing. I wasn't as heavy back then, but I remember reading the articles, all of the FUD, all of the hate for Jeff Bezos. And at that time, they laid off 18% of their employees, and it was 3,500 people, right? No, it was it was 1,300 people.
1,300 people,
1,500 people, 18% of the workforce. They got so much shit for just like what Elon's going through right now. And look at what Amazon has done since then. I'm just saying, there's a narrative that's spun that's based on a specific agenda, whether you're bullish on Tesla or bearish on Tesla. But I think if you just look at the market, the trends, where things are going, the S curves, I just don't think that this is going to be even a question in a few years. Kathy Woods had a really good video that came out yesterday or like Friday, I think it was.
Yo, do you when she uploads these 40-minute videos of her just talking straight to the screen, do you watch that?
Mm-hmm. I try to catch. Yeah, I have it on the background.
Because I can't stare at her for 40 minutes, bro. It's a little.
Why?
Because that's right. Well,
because you're a misogynist.
I didn't know.
She needs a beard, man. She needs a beard,
bro. She says so many uhs in between everything, bro. And also, she's the girl who cried wolf for the past year. I mean, so it's a little hard to take it seriously. But
what do you mean? What do you mean by cried wolf?
I mean, she's been saying we were going to go to the moon since I watched my first In the Know, which is her podcast, January 2022, because I wanted to recap it for YouTube. So I watched the whole fucking 40 minutes, listened to it. Everything she said didn't happen. And I'm just like, okay. So, I get it, but
part of the issue, and Vitaly and I did a video about this. Part of the issue is that when she was in a bubble, when nobody knew who she was, she did well. What did she do? She did the 200%. What was the return that she did in 2020? The problem is that now people are into her and her trades are public, so people can bet against her. It's her position. It's really hard being in her position, trying to have a 3 to 5 year investment time frame while still needing to make money for your investors and investing in disruptive innovation in this environment when your gains are reliant on other people believing a story. It's a really tough position that she's in right now.
Yeah, Kelly said, "Why so critical? You make YouTube videos staring into a camera for hours, but I'm sexy, so there's a difference." Okay,
And I know it.
and I know it. I think we're done with Tesla. Via, do you have something to say about Tesla?
Yeah. So I did want to add, Fadi Muhammad, he says Amazon was a bookstore. So this is a perfect thing that me and Carlos talked about. Hold on, Carlos. Me and Carlos talked about this. Amazon was a bookstore. They weren't going to do anything besides books, and they were valued like a bookstore on the internet. Okay. Walmart didn't know that Amazon was coming for their business, right? Google didn't know that Amazon with AWS was coming for their business. Nobody understood what Amazon was doing except Jeff Bezos, and every time he wrote a letter, and everybody ignored it. Elon is telling us every quarter what he's doing with his business, and everybody keeps saying, no, you're not. You're a car company. It's the same story. So either he's right, and he's going to do those things, and they're going to be legitimate, which I think part of it, energy is already becoming real. So I don't know why anyone's actually saying that it's not real. So if he's right, this company is going to be worth a hell of a lot more than it is today. And anybody who doesn't understand that thinks it's a car company, just like Amazon was a bookstore, and will not get the gains. And that's just the way it'll be. That's the way it always goes.
It's also FSD is. I was talking to my friend yesterday. As skeptical as he is about Tesla, his argument was like FSD is going to be solved. He's like, this is not if, this is when, right? He's like, this is going to happen.
Wait, I'm sorry.
So,
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
My friend who was skeptical about Tesla yesterday that I was talking to, he doesn't like the stock, but he said FSD is going to be solved. Right? Like he's like, and again, I trust him because he's in software engineering. He's like very technical guy. He's like, this is not a question of if it happens. It's like, when is FSD fully resolved? And when that does happen, then it's a business question of how much margins can you really get off of the FSD?
I mean,
also
it's all margin. That's the thing.
It's all margin.
Software margins.
It's 80% margin. I mean, 90% margin. Who knows? Especially when you guys are going to FSD, I don't even have to go that far. What happens if energy is a real business?
Yeah, that is also true. That's also true.
How much is Exxon worth?
I think it's like 250 billion. No,
350 billion.
Or shouldn't that be pulling eventually? Even that?
Yeah.
The question is, okay, here's a question for everybody. In 10 years, what's the most valuable company in the world? So what's the most valuable company in the world? 10 years.
Dia, no.
Microsoft.
What is that? Aldia. Aldia, invest now and the link below. Use promo code LP.
There is a link in the description. You guys,
Audio is not just an audio company. Audio is not just an audio company.
We have a 3-part master plan. First, we're gonna do audio. Then we're gonna do audio PORN. Then we're just gonna keep. Oh man. Okay. You know you can't say these words anymore.
You're gonna do VR audio.
We're gonna do VR audio. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that 10-year question actually transitions to the next topic, which is Google and Bing. Okay.
Okay,
so
but
Chris,
wait. Okay, can we get the answer? Amit, Vitaly, Chris, most valuable company in the world, 10 years. 33.
I mean, I'd be shocked if Tesla's not the most valuable. If they they're going to do what?
And what's the market cap?
Well, it has to be more than Apple currently, so it has to be more than 2-point-something trillion. So I don't have to be a super bull on Tesla to say it's going to hit 2 trillion or so, and then I can cash out at that point a good chunk of my position, half of it. That's what I was waiting for, the 2 trillion. And at that point, let the rest ride because I'll be fine. Don't catch me.
Chris, most valuable company in the world, 33, and what's the market cap?
Probably Microsoft, and market cap about 5 million, between 4 and 5.
5 billion.
You think Microsoft's the most valuable
2033? 4 and 5, and they're
trillion.
Trillion, 4 and 5 trillion.
Microsoft? You said Microsoft or Google too?
Nope, just Microsoft.
Okay.
Wait, Chris, hold on. All right, so my answer is Tesla. So V says Tesla, I say Tesla, Carlos says Tesla. Chris, I feel like this answer you just gave about Microsoft is very erratic. And you're not an erratic person. But I feel like you saw a couple of videos about this Chat GPT bullshit, which is not bullshit, by the way, but I'm saying bullshit right now because it's not ready for prime time. And you've just come to the conclusion magically that that Microsoft will be the most valuable in 10 years. Can you give some reasoning for this? Because there is no other reason other than you think ChatGPT takes over the world, because Azure is not going to make them the most valuable. Microsoft ads are not going to LinkedIn. Like, so what is your bull case for Microsoft being 4 trillion in 2020?
Okay. So first and foremost, they have a reoccurring revenue stream that's nowhere near close to what people are expecting that just keeps coming in, whether that be Windows and Windows products. Like every single company on the planet is tied into these guys. On top of it, Azure is growing 30-40% per year, just how it is normally right now. Okay. So those two things are phenomenally great about them. They have an ads business that's starting to go, they're starting to compete with Google using Bing. And they're trying to incorporate AI into it. Microsoft has everything to gain. Google has everything to lose, right? So that's one thing. Whether or not they win the browser war, or not the browser war, the search engine war with Google doesn't matter, because even their core business is just gangbusters. They're generating so much cash right now that they can use that cash to pile on into buying other companies that help them grow, and grow, right? They're doing a very good job of managing their capital, and they're doing a very efficient job. And with Satya Nadella, who's their CEO, he sees where he's one of those CEOs, and this is something that I was talking about on my Twitter, which is he's one of those CEOs that's a really good capital allocator. Look at what he did in 2019 when he bought GitHub, right? GitHub for 7.5 billion. It's probably worth close to 3 or 4x that right now, right? He could have just bought back shares, right? That's what some of these other FANG companies are doing. No, just buy back more shares. No, you buy the next technology. He invested $1 billion in ChatGPT, and right now they're doing about $1 billion worth of revenue on Azure from ChatGPT. Right now, they're incorporating ChatGPT into Microsoft, Google, and all this other, not Google, sorry, Microsoft Windows and Office products and everything else. So they're on the forefront of app development. They're on the forefront of a lot of new technologies that are coming out. And unlike the past, when Microsoft has been like almost comical in the way that they've done things, like the Zune, this guy is an executor. He understands where value is, and he tends to go for it. And he goes. And so I would say Microsoft, being that they have such a big economic moat and they have a dynamic leader in Satya Nadella, those two things would probably lend me a lot of confidence in saying that.
So you have 50% of your money in Microsoft right now.
No, not right now.
Okay.
Wait, yeah. So why aren't you fucking investing in Microsoft? Like, what's?
I don't believe in it yet, man.
No, no, I'm buying. I'm just very slow to buy right now. Like, the market is still taking its toll on a lot of companies and giving it a lot of pause. Like Microsoft right now, its PE is around 22. There is still a little bit of room to go down. So right now, I would be selling puts on Microsoft. You know,
what is the largest? What is the largest, like 2-3 positions in your portfolio?
I'm about 50 to 60% in cash. I'm about maybe less than 5% of Snowflake, and I have a ton of Royal Caribbean bonds. And then
Also
like,
Meta.
I have like
did you close that out, or you still have Meta?
No, I still have that, and I'm actually thinking about buying some Carnival bonds on the unsecured market, like I told you guys. And I have another S&P 500 position, but that's all in my retirement. So that money just literally is like, I don't look at
ignore it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris,
And I have a large position right now in Meta options.
Good.
And you bought Luna.
No, I don't have any Luna. I don't buy crypto.